The fear chamber had never failed. For 3,000 cycles, the Dominion of Xiron used it to break entire civilizations before war even began. The machine could read the deepest terror hidden inside any intelligent mind. Every species feared something: fire, darkness, isolation, death. The chamber always found it. And once fear was found, conquest became easy. The vast observation hall glowed with cold blue light as dozens of alien scientists stood in silence around the transparent containment pod. Inside the pod sat a human. A male. Unconscious. Barely restrained. Commander Vale stared at the creature with visible disgust. "So this is the species causing panic along the frontier?" he asked. One of the scientists nodded nervously. "Yes, Commander. They call themselves humans." Vale narrowed his glowing eyes. The creature looked weak. Soft skin. No scales. No claws. No natural armor. Its body depended on oxygen. Its muscles were inefficient compared to warrior species. Its lifespan was embarrassingly short. Even their homeworld was unstable. Storms. Volcanoes. Predators. Disease. And yet, reports from the border systems kept arriving. Human fleets surviving impossible battles. Human soldiers fighting after losing limbs. Human civilians resisting occupation forces with primitive explosives. No one understood why. "They are young," Vale said coldly. "New to the galaxy. Undisciplined. Emotional." Another scientist hesitated. "There is something unusual about them, Commander." Vale turned sharply. "Explain." "Their fear responses are inconsistent." A low murmur spread through the chamber. "Inconsistent." "Yes. Humans display fear physically. Elevated pulse. Hormonal spikes. Neural stress reactions. But instead of retreating, the scientists swallowed. They often become more dangerous." Silence. Vale looked back at the unconscious human. The prisoner had been captured after a border skirmish near the moons of Kareth. According to reports, he continued fighting even after sustaining catastrophic injuries. 3 Dominion soldiers dead. 7 wounded. 1 destroyed combat walker. All caused by a single human infantryman. Impossible. Vale stepped closer to the pod. The human's face was calm. Too calm. "What is its name?" "Sergeant Ethan Cole. Terran Marine Corps." "Has the specimen regained consciousness?" "Twice." "And?" The scientist looked uneasy. He asked for coffee. Several officers stared in confusion. "Coffee? A stimulant beverage, Commander." Vale's expression hardened. "Begin the test." The chamber lights dimmed. Massive energy conduits hummed alive beneath the floor. The fear extraction engine activated. An ancient machine, older than the Dominion itself. A machine built from lost technology, recovered from extinct civilizations. No one truly understood how it worked, only that it always worked. Thin metallic tendrils descended from the ceiling and connected to the human skull. The pod filled with pale blue mist. Commander Vale folded his arms. "Let us see what nightmares live inside humanity." The machine pulsed. Energy surged. The human's eyes suddenly opened. Bright. Alert. Not confused. Not panicked. Aware. Ethan looked around slowly. At the aliens. At the machines. At the cables inside his arms. Then he smiled. A scientist stepped back immediately. "Commander, why is it smiling?" Vale ignored the question. "Human," he said through the translator. "You stand before the Dominion of Xiron. Resistance is useless." Ethan glanced at the pod walls. "Cool prison. You will answer our questions. You guys always talk like movie villains." The translator struggled to process the sarcasm. Several scientists exchanged confused looks. Vale's patience began to fade. "Activate the extraction." The machine intensified. The chamber trembled. A deep sound echoed through the room. Not mechanical. Almost alive. Ethan's heartbeat appeared across the monitors. The fear analysis began. Neural pathways opened. Memory access initiated. The machine searched deeper and deeper. The first images appeared. A child standing in heavy rain. A woman smiling. Explosions. Training grounds. War. Blood. Loss. The machine dug further. Searching for terror. Searching for weakness. Then suddenly, every screen in the chamber turned red. Warning. 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 Scientists froze. What is happening? Vale demanded. The machine screamed. Not electronically. It screamed like a living thing. The entire chamber shook violently. Lights exploded overhead. One scientist collapsed as blood streamed from his ears. Disconnect it, someone shouted. We can't. The screens flickered rapidly. Fear index. Unknown. Psychological profile. Unknown. Threat assessment. Unknown. Then new words appeared. Do not provoke. The room fell silent. Even Commander Vale stopped breathing. The ancient machine had never produced a warning. Not once. Ethan slowly looked up, directly at Vale, and smiled again. You probably shouldn't have done that. Supreme Strategist Core had studied thousands of species. He considered humanity insignificant. At first, the holographic galaxy rotated slowly inside the Dominion war chamber. Worlds burned red across the map. Entire civilizations bent beneath Xiron rule. Yet one small blue planet now occupied everyone's attention. Earth. Core activated the intelligence files. Human cities appeared. Massive oceans. Skyscrapers. Military fleets. Primitive compared to the Dominion, and yet strangely adaptable. They divide themselves constantly, one analyst explained. Explain. They fight wars against their own species. Religions. Nations. Ideologies. Resources. Core frowned. They destroy each other voluntarily? Yes. Then conquest should be simple. The analyst hesitated. That is what everyone believed. New footage appeared. Human soldiers rescuing civilians during orbital bombardment. Humans entering burning buildings. Humans charging enemy lines while injured. Humans laughing during combat. Core narrowed his eyes. Why do they continue fighting when survival probability drops below acceptable thresholds? No one answered. Another file opened. Human history. Ancient wars. World wars. Nuclear weapons. Civil unrest. Famines. Pandemics. Core expected extinction. Instead, humanity expanded. Stronger. Faster. Deadlier. They survived all this. Yes, strategist. Core stared at Earth. This species should not exist. Meanwhile, deep inside the research station, Ethan Cole sat calmly in a containment cell. Two guards watched him carefully. Neither moved closer. Rumors had already spread through the station. The fear machine malfunction. The warning. The human smile. Some believed the machine detected madness. Others believed humans possessed some unknown psychic ability. Ethan leaned back against the wall. Tough crowd, he muttered. One guard growled. Silence. Ethan looked at the alien. You know what your problem is? The guard stiffened. You assume because you're bigger, you're stronger. The second guard tightened his grip on his weapon. Ethan continued casually. Back home, we got animals that can kill you in one bite. Sharks. Lions. Crocodiles. The guards remained silent. And you know what humans did? Ethan smiled. We put them in zoos. Hours later, Commander Vale reviewed the machine recordings personally. The images disturbed him. The fear engine had searched Ethan's mind. And instead of finding fear, it found persistence, rage, loss, love, sacrifice. The machine could not categorize humanity because human fear did not create surrender. It created resistance. The door behind Vale opened. Strategist Core entered. You summoned me. Vale activated the recordings. Core watched silently. Then the warning appeared again. Do not provoke. For the first time in centuries, Kor felt uncomfortable. What exactly are humans? He whispered. Vale answered quietly. I believe we are about to find out. The second experiment began 3 cycles later. This time the Dominion used deeper neural extraction. Illegal technology, even by Dominion standards. If successful, they would uncover every military secret inside Ethan's brain. Fleet locations, defense systems, Earth's weaknesses. The chamber sealed shut. Heavy restraints locked around Ethan's arms and chest. Yet he looked almost bored. Commander Vale stepped forward. You understand resistance is futile. Ethan sighed. You aliens really need new dialogue writers. The machine activated again. A stronger pulse. Deeper penetration. The scientists watched the monitors nervously. Neural access began. Memories flooded the screens. Earth. A little girl running through a park. A mother hugging her son goodbye. A military funeral. Marines training under rain and mud. Humans helping strangers after disasters. Humans fighting each other. Humans protecting each other. Contradictions everywhere. Kor studied the data intensely. They are emotional creatures. Yes. Unstable. Yes. Then why are they dangerous? No one answered. The machine pushed deeper. Ethan's heartbeat accelerated. Adrenaline levels surged. The scientist smiled. At last, fear response detected. Then Ethan began laughing. The entire chamber froze. Not nervous laughter. Not panic. Real laughter. What is happening? Vale demanded. The machine pushed deeper. Ethan's heartbeat accelerated. Adrenaline levels surged. The scientist smiled. At last, fear response detected. Then Ethan began laughing. The entire chamber froze. Not nervous laughter. Not panic. Real laughter. What is happening? Vale demanded. Ethan looked directly at them. You idiots think fear makes humans weak? The machine displayed massive hormonal spikes. Combat stimulants. Pain suppression. Aggression. Survival instincts. Human biology transformed fear into fuel. The Dominion scientists stared in disbelief. One researcher whispered, They weaponized fear. No, Ethan said. We evolved with it. The machine dug even deeper. And suddenly it found something else. Not fear. Memory. Battlefields. Burning colonies. Dead civilians. Human soldiers carrying wounded allies through fire. Then another image appeared. A black flag rising above ruined cities. The words beneath it. No1 left behind. The machine began overheating. Warning alarms filled the chamber. Power levels exceeded safe limits. The AI controlling the system attempted categorization. Result. Species exhibits irrational pack-bonding behavior. Species willingly sacrifices self-preservation for unrelated individuals. Species responds to fear with aggression. Species classified as. The screen glitched. Then, predator. The room became silent. Every scientist slowly turned toward Ethan. Because for the first time, the human was no longer smiling. He looked angry. And somehow, that was far worse. Far beyond Dominion space, a human stealth beacon activated. A tiny pulse. Almost invisible. But not invisible enough. Lieutenant Mira Hayes sat inside the Corvette Shadow Viper when the alert appeared. Encrypted Terran military signal. Priority black. Captured personnel. Her expression darkened. Source confirmed. Yes, Lieutenant. Who? The officer swallowed. Sergeant Ethan Cole. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew Ethan. A war hero from the Kareth border. The man was insane. And impossible to kill. Mira opened the emergency transmission. Static filled the speakers. Then Ethan's voice emerged. Calm. Tired. They're planning something big. Gunfire echoed in the background. I'm aboard a Xiron research station near the Valtar Rift. Heavy breathing. They think humans are weak. Another explosion. Then Ethan laughed. They're about to learn. Transmission lost. Mira stood immediately. Prepare jump coordinates. The navigator looked shocked. With one ship. Mira loaded her rifle. We're not leaving him there. Meanwhile, aboard the Dominion station, red alarms suddenly activated. Containment breach. Containment breach. Commander Vale spun toward the security feed. 3 dead guards. Blood across the corridor. An open cell. And missing restraints. Vale's eyes widened. Where is the human? No one answered. Then the station lights flickered. A human voice echoed through every speaker. Attention, ugly space, squid people. Scientists froze. Ethan's voice continued. You took my weapons. A loud explosion shook the station. Big mistake. The feed cut to a security camera. Ethan stood in the corridor wearing stolen armor. Smoke rose behind him. 5 Dominion soldiers lay unconscious. One moved slightly. Ethan kicked the weapon away casually. Commander Vale stared in disbelief. How is one human doing this? Then another officer answered quietly. Commander, what if this is normal for them? For the first time since first contact, fear spread through the Dominion. Real fear. And far away, beyond the stars, human warships were already moving. Across the black void of deep space, massive Terran battle fleets tore through hyperspace like spears of blue fire. Destroyers, carriers, heavy cruisers, stealth corvettes. Entire human fleets accelerated toward Dominion territory with terrifying speed. Inside the command bridge of the Terran flagship TSS Resolute, Admiral Sofia Reyes stood silently before the tactical display. The hologram showed only one thing: the captured human soldier. Sergeant Ethan Cole. Status: alive. Location: unknown. Every officer on the bridge watched the image with cold expressions, because every human in that room understood one truth. Humanity never abandoned its own. ETA to Dominion space? Reyes asked calmly. For hours. Enemy response. Dominion fleets are mobilizing near the Valtar Rift. The Admiral folded her arms. Good. One officer hesitated. Ma'am, are we truly deploying 3 fleets for 1 Marine? The bridge became silent. Admiral Reyes slowly turned toward him. For 1 Marine? She repeated quietly. The young officer realized his mistake instantly. Reyes stepped closer. That Marine held the line during the Kareth massacre while civilians escaped. Another step. He carried wounded soldiers through plasma fire. Another step. He volunteered for missions everyone else considered suicide. Now the entire bridge stared at her. That man is not 1 Marine. Her voice hardened like steel. He is humanity. Silence filled the bridge. Then the Admiral gave the order. All fleets continue advance. Her eyes burned coldly. We are bringing him home. Deep inside the Dominion research station, Ethan Cole sat alone inside a reinforced containment chamber. His wrists were restrained by magnetic shackles. His chest was covered in sensor cables. Small streams of blood ran from dozens of neural probes attached to his skin. Yet somehow, he still looked relaxed. Commander Vale stood outside the chamber, observing him carefully. The fear machine recordings replayed endlessly beside him. Unknown. 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 The ancient machine had never failed before. Not once. Yet every attempt to understand the human mind ended the same way. Unknown. Vale narrowed his eyes. You should be terrified. Ethan slowly looked up. Nah. You are alone. Still nah. You are surrounded by enemies. Ethan leaned back casually. Buddy, humans get surrounded all the time. Several scientists exchanged nervous looks. Vale activated another hologram. Earth appeared above them. Small. Blue. Fragile. You care about this world deeply, correct? Ethan's smile faded slightly. Careful. Vale noticed the change instantly. Interesting. Finally, a reaction. We have analyzed your species thoroughly, Vale continued. Weak bodies, fragile skin, short lifespans, oxygen dependency. Ethan sighed. You guys really love saying that. You evolved on a primitive death world and somehow survived through sheer luck. Ethan slowly stood despite the restraints. The room became tense immediately. Then the human smiled again. That's where you're wrong. Vale frowned. Ethan's voice became quieter. We survived because Earth tried to kill us every day. Silence. Predators. Storms. Wars. Disease. Hunger. Ethan looked directly into Vale's eyes. And we beat all of them. For reasons Vale could not explain. A chill ran through his spine. Strategist Core entered the research chamber carrying the final analysis report. His expression looked deeply disturbed. Commander Vale noticed immediately. You found something. Core remained silent for several moments. Then he activated the report. Human neural patterns filled the air. Stress responses. Hormonal surges. Adrenaline spikes. Combat instincts. Fear responses. Yet every pathway connected to aggression instead of surrender. It makes no sense, one scientist whispered. Core looked toward Ethan. We misunderstood fear. The chamber became silent. The Dominion believed fear was weakness. Core continued slowly. But humans? He hesitated. Humans weaponized it. Another scientist objected immediately. That's impossible. No. Core answered quietly. It is evolution. He activated recovered memories from Ethan's neural scans. A child trapped beneath rubble. Humans running into collapsing buildings to save strangers. Soldiers shielding civilians with their own bodies. Firefighters charging into infernos. Doctors continuing surgeries during bombardments. Humans crying while still moving forward. The room fell silent. Core's voice lowered. They are afraid constantly. Vale stared at the footage. Then why don't they stop? Core finally answered the question haunting everyone. Because humans fear losing others more than losing themselves. Silence. Even Ethan stopped smiling. For the first time, the aliens were beginning to understand humanity. And that realization terrified them. The news spread across Earth within hours. A human soldier had been captured alive by aliens. Every nation reacted instantly. Massive protests erupted. Military recruitment centers overflowed. Factories switched to wartime production overnight. Old rival nations suddenly shared intelligence openly. Enemies became allies. Because somewhere beyond the stars, one human was suffering. And humanity took that personally. A reporter stood before millions of viewers during a global emergency broadcast. They believed humans were divided. Behind her, enormous Terran fleets launched from orbital stations. They believed humans were weak. Thousands of soldiers marched toward deployment transports. They believed fear would break us. The woman looked directly into the camera. They made a terrible mistake. Across Earth, families watched silently. Parents, children, veterans, workers, students. For the first time in generations, humanity stood completely united. Not for conquest, not for power, for one of their own. The station lights suddenly went dark. Alarms erupted instantly. Commander Vale spun toward the control panels. What happened? Power grid failure. Backup systems offline. Security network compromised. Vale's eyes widened. How? Then the answer came. A body crashed through the observation window. One dead Dominion guard. His weapon missing. Every scientist turned slowly toward Ethan's containment chamber. Empty. The restraints hung broken on the floor. Silence. Then a human voice echoed through the speakers. Hey, ugly. The entire station froze. Ethan's laughter crackled across every corridor. You should really improve your prison security. Explosions thundered through nearby decks. Emergency lights flashed red. Containment breach. Containment breach. Containment breach. Dominion soldiers rushed through corridors, desperately searching for the human. Too slow. Everywhere Ethan moved, chaos followed. Weapons lockers exploded. Surveillance systems failed. Life support controls malfunctioned. One security team found 6 unconscious guards piled together inside an elevator. Another discovered entire corridors sealed with improvised explosives. "He's turning the station against us," an officer whispered. Commander Vale finally understood something horrifying. Humans did not need superior technology to become dangerous. Give them time, and they adapted to anything. Ethan sprinted through smoke-filled corridors carrying a stolen plasma rifle. His body screamed in pain. Bruised ribs, blood loss, burned skin. Still running, still fighting. A Dominion patrol suddenly appeared ahead. 6 soldiers. Weapons raised instantly. "Stop!" Ethan grinned. "Nah." The corridor exploded into violence. Plasma bolts tore through walls. One alien collapsed immediately. Another screamed as Ethan tackled him into a control panel. The third fired wildly. But Ethan used the fallen soldier's armor as cover. The remaining guards hesitated. That hesitation killed them. Seconds later, silence returned. Ethan leaned heavily against the wall, breathing hard. One surviving alien crawled backward in terror. "You're insane." Ethan wiped blood from his mouth. "Buddy." He looked down the corridor toward the station core. "You haven't seen insane yet." Then suddenly, the station trembled violently. Every alarm changed instantly. "Warning. Unknown fleets detected." "Warning. Unknown fleets detected." Ethan smiled slowly. "They're here." Dominion sensors detected the human fleets too late. Space itself erupted with blue hyperspace fractures as Terran warships emerged across the Valtar Rift. Hundreds of them, then thousands. Black armored hulls filled the stars. Commander Vale stared in disbelief. "For one prisoner." Strategist Core answered quietly. "No." His eyes remained fixed on the advancing fleets. "For family." The human attack began instantly. No warnings. No negotiations. Rail cannons fired across impossible distances. Dominion cruisers shattered apart. Human fighters swarmed enemy formations aggressively, like wolves hunting larger prey. One Terran destroyer rammed directly into a Dominion carrier after losing engines. The human ship exploded, but took the carrier with it. Dominion officers watched in horror. "They're sacrificing themselves." Core shook his head slowly. "No." He finally understood humanity completely. They're sacrificing themselves for each other. And that made them unstoppable. Inside the station, Ethan reached the communications tower. The walls shook violently from orbital bombardment. Dust fell from the ceiling. The battle outside was becoming catastrophic. Then the blast doors exploded inward. Dominion soldiers flooded into the room. Ethan opened fire immediately. The chamber became chaos. Screams. Explosions. Smoke. Bodies crashing into walls. Ethan fought like a cornered animal. No hesitation. No fear. Only fury. One alien officer screamed desperately. "Why won't you die?" Ethan slammed the soldier against the floor. Too stubborn. Then suddenly, the ceiling above them shattered apart. Massive boarding pods crashed directly into the chamber. Terran Marines emerged through smoke and fire. Black combat armor. Heavy rifles. Visors glowing crimson. One Marine removed his helmet. Lieutenant Mira Hayes. She looked at Ethan's destroyed condition. "You look terrible." Ethan laughed weakly. "You should see the other guys." The human Marines advanced immediately, and for the first time in Dominion history, their soldiers began retreating in fear. Hours later, the Dominion station burned silently above the Valtar Rift. Human warships surrounded the wreckage. Escape pods drifted through the darkness. Fires illuminated the stars. Inside the shattered research chamber, strategist Core stared at the fear machine one final time. The damaged screen flickered weakly. Unknown, unknown, unknown. Then slowly, new words appeared. Not prey. Core closed his eyes. Now he understood. Humanity was not terrifying because they were fearless. Humanity was terrifying because they felt fear and moved forward anyway. Across the galaxy, the footage spread rapidly. The captured human, the fear machine warning, the arrival of Earth's fleets, the destruction of the Dominion station. Civilizations everywhere began whispering the same thing. Do not provoke humanity, because if one human suffered, all of Earth answered. Humanity had answered, and now the galaxy was afraid. Not because Earth conquered worlds, not because humans possessed the largest fleets, but because every civilization had witnessed something impossible. One captured human soldier, and an entire species marched into war. Across the galaxy, the recording from the fear machine continued spreading. Unknown, unknown, unknown. No species could stop talking about humanity. Some called humans heroes. Others called them monsters. The Dominion called them a mistake. And deep inside Dominion space, Supreme Overlord Zerath prepared revenge. The Dominion capital world glowed beneath endless storms as the High War Council gathered. Massive holograms filled the chamber. Destroyed stations, burning fleets, dead Dominion soldiers, all caused by humans. Overlord Zerath stood slowly from his throne. The Terrans humiliated the Dominion. No one spoke, because everyone knew it was true. Entire sectors now feared humanity more than the Dominion itself. Trade alliances were collapsing. Occupied species were rebelling. And all because humans dared fight back. Strategist Core stepped forward carefully. We should negotiate. Every council member turned toward him in shock. Zerath's eyes narrowed dangerously. Negotiate. Core activated recovered battle footage. Human marines advancing through plasma fire. Terran ships ramming enemy cruisers. Wounded humans carrying allies instead of retreating. We misunderstood them, Core warned. Humans are not like other species. One military commander slammed his fist against the table. They are weak animals. Core looked directly at him. Then why are you afraid? Silence. Nobody answered. Because they were afraid. The fear machine warning haunted every Dominion mind. Do not provoke. Overlord Zerath finally spoke. Fear is irrelevant. His massive claws tightened around the throne. We will erase Earth completely. Core's face darkened. If you attack their homeworld. He hesitated. You will unite every human alive. Zerath smiled coldly. Good. The Overlord turned toward the fleet commanders. Prepare the extinction fleet. And at that moment, the galaxy unknowingly moved one step closer to hell. Earth looked peaceful from orbit. Blue oceans, white clouds, golden city lights across the night side. Beautiful, fragile, home. Inside the Terran Defense Council chamber, Admiral Sophia Reyes watched incoming Dominion fleet reports carefully. Thousands of enemy warships were moving toward Sol System, the largest fleet ever assembled. One officer swallowed nervously. Estimated enemy arrival. 36 hours. Silence spread across the chamber. Then Ethan Cole entered slowly. The room immediately relaxed slightly. Somehow his presence always did that. Even after captivity, even after torture, the man still carried calm confidence. Admiral Reyes crossed her arms. You should still be in medical recovery. Ethan smirked. Doctors are overrated. A few officers laughed weakly. Then Ethan studied the tactical map. Thousands of enemy markers filled the screen. One young commander whispered, "How do we stop that many ships?" Ethan answered quietly, "We don't." Everyone looked confused. Ethan pointed toward Earth beneath the hologram. We survive it. The room fell silent. Because every human understood exactly what he meant. Humanity had survived impossible things before. World wars, nuclear threats, climate disasters, pandemics, extinction events. Earth had always tried to kill humans. And humanity survived anyway. Admiral Reyes finally nodded slowly. Then we hold the line. Across alien space, independent civilizations watched Earth carefully. Many expected panic, riots, collapse. Instead, humanity became stronger. Civilian factories converted into weapons production overnight. Volunteers flooded recruitment stations. Cargo pilots signed military transport contracts without hesitation. Entire populations worked together continuously. One alien ambassador stared at human news broadcasts in disbelief. They are preparing for extinction. Another diplomat answered softly. No. He watched Terran ships leaving orbital docks endlessly. They are preparing to protect each other. That was the moment the galaxy truly understood humanity. Humans were not fearless. Humans cried. Humans panicked. Humans suffered. But when something threatened their people, fear transformed into determination. And determination made humans terrifying. The Dominion arrived like a storm. Millions of civilians watched the night sky as enormous warships emerged from hyperspace above Earth. The stars disappeared behind black armored hulls. Children cried. Emergency sirens screamed worldwide. Entire cities entered underground shelters. Then Dominion transmissions activated across every screen on Earth. Overlord Zerath appeared. Towering, cold, inhuman. People of Earth. His voice echoed across the planet. You mistake survival for strength. Massive Dominion weapons charged behind him. You were warned. Then his eyes narrowed. Now your species ends. The transmission cut. Seconds later, the first bombardment began. Orbital defense stations exploded instantly. Human fleets launched desperately from every corner of Earth orbit. The Battle of Sol had begun. Space became fire. Rail cannons ripped through darkness. Missile swarms crossed orbit like meteors. Exploding ships illuminated Earth beneath the battle. Terran fleets fought with terrifying aggression. Not because they wanted victory, because retreat meant extinction. Dominion commanders quickly noticed something horrifying. Human ships refused surrender completely. Even crippled vessels continued fighting. One Terran cruiser lost engines and half its hull, and still protected evacuation transports. Another human carrier drifted burning through space while launching fighters until the final second. Fear spread through Dominion formations. Commander Vale watched the battle unfold silently. Why are they still advancing? Strategist Core answered quietly. Because Earth is behind them. Then suddenly, a Dominion supercarrier broke through the defense line. Direct path to Earth. Orbital bombardment weapons charging. Entire human command channels erupted in panic. If the carrier reached firing range, millions would die. Admiral Reyes stared at the tactical display. No ships close enough. No time. Then one signal accelerated forward alone. The TSS Valkyrie. Ethan Cole aboard. Inside the Valkyrie, warning alarms screamed endlessly. The ship shook violently from incoming fire. Lieutenant Mira Hayes grabbed Ethan's arm. You can't stop that carrier alone. Ethan loaded his rifle calmly. Not alone. Mira frowned. What? Ethan pointed toward Earth visible through the cockpit glass. Billions of lights covered the planet below. Family. Friends. Humanity. All of them are with us. Then he smiled slightly. That's the problem with humans. Mira shook her head. What? Ethan looked toward the massive Dominion carrier ahead. We fight hardest when we're scared. The Valkyrie accelerated directly toward the enemy supercarrier. Every Dominion weapon opened fire. The human ship burned. Armor peeled apart. Engines failed. Still advancing. Dominion officers stared in horror. Why won't they retreat? Because they finally understood. Humans feared losing Earth more than death itself. And that made them unstoppable. The Valkyrie crashed directly into the Dominion supercarrier. The explosion lit Earth's orbit brighter than sunrise. Shockwaves tore through nearby fleets. Dominion formations collapsed instantly. Human ships charged forward through the fire. The battle turned savage. Close range. Brutal. Desperate. Then suddenly, Dominion communications failed across the battlefield. Every screen glitched. One message appeared everywhere. Unknown. 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 The Fear Machine AI had spread through Dominion networks automatically during the war. And now every Dominion soldier saw the same final classification. Species status. Unbreakable. Prediction. Humanity will never surrender. Panic exploded across Dominion fleets. Ships began retreating everywhere. Command structures collapsed. Because for the first time in their history, the Dominion truly feared another species. And fear destroyed them. Hours later, the war was over. Burning wreckage drifted silently above Earth. Rescue ships searched endlessly through debris fields. Millions survived, but many were gone. Admiral Reyes stood inside the damaged command center, staring at Earth below. Beautiful. Still alive. Then the doors opened. Mira Hayes entered slowly. Her eyes were red. He made it. Reyes turned sharply. What? Mira smiled weakly. They found Ethan. Inside a medical bay nearby, Ethan Cole sat wrapped in bandages watching Earth through a window. Half the room's equipment was keeping him alive. Yet somehow, he still smiled. Admiral Reyes entered quietly. You nearly got yourself killed. Ethan shrugged painfully. Again. For several moments neither spoke. Then Reyes asked softly, what did the machine see inside us? Ethan looked toward Earth. At billions of humans rebuilding already. Helping each other already. Surviving already. Then he answered quietly. It saw that humans are afraid. Reyes frowned slightly. Then why couldn't it understand us? Ethan smiled. Because every species thinks fear makes you weak. He looked back toward the stars. But humans? His voice became calm. We keep moving forward anyway. Outside the window, Earth slowly turned beneath the stars. Scarred. Broken. Alive. And across the galaxy, one warning spread forever. Never test human fear. Because the moment humanity has something to protect, the impossible becomes normal.